So first, let me thank you for all being here, for your interest in our graduate programs. Let me introduce myself. I'm Özge Kemaloğlu. I've been at Sabancı. Every time I say this, I'm shocked about it, since 2009, so it's been a very long time. And let me very briefly talk about my research. I do research on comparative politics. I've mainly focused on distributive politics and party politics in the past, focusing on Turkey and Latin America. Over time, I've started to become more interested in regime change, the role of institutions in backsliding, role of economic evaluations in backsliding. So these are more of my focus of research at the moment. Looking at also the role of local politics in the backsliding cases. So let me, this is basically what I do myself. And I'm going to talk about the program in general from now on. I will use our webpage to give this brief introduction because I think it's a pretty informative webpage. I think you can all see my screen. First, let me show you the webpage with the faculty members, and there let me briefly talk about the research interests of our faculty members. So in general, of course, our strengths, one of our strengths lies in Turkish politics from a comparative perspective, looking at political institutions, voting behavior, regime change questions, and again, from a comparative perspective. We have also faculty members who work on EU politics, European Union politics, conflict studies, political theory, democratic theory, philosophy of science. Hopefully I have not missed anything. So in general, we can, the faculty members here will talk a little bit more about their research areas after I finish this general instruction. And we are focusing, using different methodological tools when we are doing our research. And in our courses, we teach these methodological tools as well. And I'm going to talk about these courses in a minute. So we, in general, I think as a program, have this, apart from political theory, have this tendency to do theoretically driven empirical analysis. So in different fields, we test our, and we look at the empirical we back our arguments with empirical analysis with using different methodologies. And as I mentioned, we cover them in different courses. So let me talk about the requirements of our programs. I'm going to talk both about the MA program and the PhD program as well, very briefly. I cannot give you all the details, but if you want to look at the details, you can use this graduate handbook that we prepared for you. So you can, on your own time, you can look at this document and see the details of what the course requirements are for different programs. And for the MA program, we require you take 4 courses. So where can you see the courses that are offered by our program? You can look at them here. So again, this is a helpful sources of information where you can also look at the syllabi that are used in these courses. So you can have a lot of detailed information. So the 4 required courses for the MA students as well as for the PhD students are the introductory courses in different fields of political science. So we, as we cover different areas of political science like comparative politics, international relations, political theory, and Turkish politics, we teach courses on them. And the required courses are the courses on, this is spring, so let me start with the fall. So the required courses for the MA students as well as for the PhD students are the seminar on political theory, the methods and scope of political analysis and introductory research course, and then in the spring semester, the comparative politics seminar and international relations seminar. So all students in the graduate program, they have to take these courses. And then for the MA students, they have to take 3 core electives and then 2 free electives. Typically, our MA students take their free electives from the political science, but they are free to take it from other fields. So the core electives that you can choose courses from, you can also choose these as your free electives, are listed here. From year to year, of course, there are some changes, but over time they reflect our research areas. So you can see that they cover areas like Turkish politics, regime change, European Union politics, religion and politics, that I forgot to cover a minute ago, party systems, electoral behavior, conflict resolution, conflict and peace. So these are obviously the courses that we teach, match with what we do research on. So these are the courses that you can pick from. For example, Turkish social and political thought in the spring semester, comparative method, current issues in Turkish politics, ethnicity and nationalism, human rights. These are the courses that you can pick as elective courses. We have few methodology courses that you can take as electives. So for the MA students, after you take the required methodology course, you can pick between quantitative research methods course and qualitative research methods course, as you like. You can take both, but typically students take one of each depending on what methodology that they're going to use in their thesis. And for the PhD students, both are required. So they will have to take the qualitative and quantitative courses. For the PhD, so this covers basically the requirements of the MA program. And after you finish your course requirements, you write the thesis. You're required to pick your thesis advisor in your first semester, and then after that, you start working on your thesis and write it over the 2 years. Typically, after after the first year, people start to write their thesis. Let me move on to a PhD program. So for the PhD, again, they have to take these 4 required courses plus the 2 methodology courses. And overall, they need to take, if they have the MA degree, 8 courses. So the rest they can pick from the core electives. After 2 years of taking courses, PhD students need to pass the comprehensive exam, and they need to pass the comprehensive exam in 2 fields. We offer comprehensive exams in the field of comparative politics, international relations, and Turkish politics and political theory, so in 4 fields. The courses, we require the students to take some courses in preparation for these comprehensive exams. So you can look at this handbook for those lists of courses. So here we list what courses you need to take for taking the comprehensive exam for these fields. So for comparative politics, this international relations, political theory, and Turkish politics. So before you are able to take this exam, you need to take the required courses and prepare yourself for the exams. And then after finishing these requirements in terms of courses, PhD students and after taking the exams, PhD students have to submit their dissertation proposal within 6 months, and then they can, after passing the dissertation defense, they need to finish the writing of their dissertation in 10 semesters if they have an MA degree, and in 12 semesters if they do not have an MA degree, in order to continue to have their scholarship from Sabancı University. So this more or less covers very briefly our requirements. The final thing that I want to say before I pass the floor to my colleagues here is to talk a little bit about our alumni. Our program, I think, is a quite academic-oriented program, though we have some alumni that have moved into other areas areas after graduation. We have from our MA program very good alumni that ended up doing PhD students in very good programs. This year, a student of ours is admitted to Rochester. A few other students were admitted to Rochester, for example, earlier to Duke University, Notre Dame, if I'm not mistaken. University of Washington, St. Louis. So we have MA students who have pursued to do PhD in very good universities after completing the program. I want to talk a little bit about our PhD alumni as well. Here you can find this information on the web. here, and we have here our alumni, our PhD alumni who have, very actively been participating in academic work in political science. They have graduated in different years in different fields of political science, contributing to research, to teaching, sometimes not only academia, but in policy world as well. Here I think, except one. So we have mostly those who continue with academic life, but one alumni who is involved in policy work as well. So you can, because of our limited time, I want to finish my brief introduction here. But as I mentioned, our website is quite informative. So for any of the details, you can first consult this, and please feel free to contact me and other faculty members. And the details of the application process, I'm sure you have questions and we'll ask them. To share this information with you over chat, but also you can find them here for the MA applications. You have this detailed information, and for the PhD program, here you have the detailed information. So for any of these areas, you can consult the web page. So let me pass the floor to our panel members, fellow colleagues. I'll stop sharing for now, but even if you want to show anything, I can either do it or you can do it yourself. So would you like to introduce yourself, share your research? Arslancan, you would like?
That's a good idea. Let each of us speak briefly. I'm Ersin Kalaycıoğlu. I've been teaching on and off at Sabancı University since 2001, 2002, last 20 years, with a brief intermission in which I functioned as the rector of Işık University in 2004 through 2007. After 2007, I've been teaching here. In this period, I'm also a member of the Istanbul Policy Center, and I have been involved in several studies, one on Turkish elections from 2002 up until 2018, the last elections, with a colleague who used to be here at Sabancı University, Ali Çarkoğlu, who is now at Koç. Jointly, we published 2 books on this matter, one in 2007, the other this year to 2021. The last one is fresh out from University of Michigan Press on Turkish elections from 2002 until 2015, November. We conducted the final study of 2018, which was a relatively different election, with a larger group of people, including some of our faculty members, such as Mert Moral and also Özge Mahloğlu from Sabancı University, and Erdem Aykaç from Koç, as well as Ali Çarkoğlu, of course. And that is a collected volume. We are working on it. Should be appearing sometime in the summer from Routledge as another major volume. We also published several articles, both of us, Ali Çarkoğlu and myself, over the years about the elections. We conducted a study of changing political culture in Turkey, especially conservatism. That's published as a book and several articles, also a book in 2009, which is still very pertinent. And we seem to be getting a lot of attention and reference to that work. And I have also worked on political participation and legislature, basically Grand National Assembly, which was my PhD dissertation in prehistoric times, 1977, before many of you were around, including the faculty members. So that goes a few years back. So that more or less concludes the areas of my interest. I teach comparative politics at the undergraduate level, comparative method at the graduate level, Turkish politics both at undergraduate and graduate levels, and conduct research on all those topics in general, and also have been involved in various international networks and projects since the beginning of my career in all of those fields. I'll turn my, I'll stop here and turn over the screen to, on my screen, it's Sanem that I see right next to me. So it will be better if we go one lady, one gentleman. How about that? Sanem, you have the floor.
Okay, perfect. Ersin Hocam, thank you very much. I'll try to briefly introduce myself. My name is Senem Aydın Düzgit. I am a professor of international relations at this faculty. And I have joined Sabancı University in 2016, so time flies, you know, it's been 5 years already. I'm also the academic affairs coordinator of the Istanbul Policy Center. So just like Ersin Hoca, I have one foot at IPC as well. Before I joined Sabancı, I was a Jean Monnet Chair of EU Political and Administrative Studies at Istanbul Bilgi University. So I moved from Bilgi to Sabancı in 2016. Now, my research areas, I focus mostly on EU integration, European foreign policy, EU-Turkey relations, Turkish foreign policy, and theoretically more about constructivist theories of IR and in particular identity in international relations. I've also conducted research on international democracy support, both in the context, in the empirical context of European foreign policy, but also Turkish foreign policy. What else do I do? I teach classes at Sabancı. I mainly teach classes on one class on European integration, EU institutions and policies, and another class on EU foreign policy. Previously, I also taught classes on IR theory. I had seminars on IR theory and other related issues. I think that's about it, and I can respond to your questions in case you have any. Oh yeah, Mert, since I'm following Ersin Hoca's rule.
Okay, my name is Mert Moral. I graduated from Sunu Binghamton University. I forgot where I graduated from in 2017, and since then it has been 3.5 years, a little bit more than that. I have been at Sabancı. I teach introductory research methods at the graduate level, quantitative research methods at the graduate level, survey research methods both at the undergraduate and graduate level, as well as comparative party systems and electoral behavior course. It is also a dual coded course. I mean, if you actually decide to come to Sabancı, you will actually see me a lot, teaching a lot of graduate level courses. In addition to teaching, I do study electoral behavior, and this is I mean, usually I focus on political participation, but I have some other studies focusing on voting behavior, not only from a comparative perspective, but also in Turkish politics. I mean, from the realm of, from the perspective of Turkish politics, as Ersin Hoca just mentioned. In addition to that, I do study party politics and institutional and contextual factors. How do they actually affect individual behavior, mainly employing survey data. I am currently working on a couple of projects. I mean, mostly related to, I mean, geographical polarization in Turkey, political polarization in Turkey, and I would actually be more than happy, I mean, to answer if you have any questions about my research interests or the courses that I teach. So now I think it's time to pass the floor to Betül Hoca.
Thank you. So I too graduated from SUNY Binghamton, and it has been 19 years since I joined the faculty at Sabancı University. Holding a PhD in political science, I mostly concentrated my work on ethnic conflict, but also processes of peacefully resolving or transforming them. I used to teach a lot in our conflict analysis and resolution program, which has been merged with political science and international relations program last year. My expertise are on ethnic conflict, peace processes, gender and peace building, dialogue, intergroup relations, and in terms of methodology, I mostly use field work, interviews, focus groups, but also designing of qualitative studies like surveys too. I teach mostly in political science graduate level courses. At the moment, I'm teaching international conflict and peace and ethnicity and nationalism. I think that's about it.
Thank you very much. I think we can take questions now, right? You can indicate that you want to ask questions and I can unmute you, or you can write it on chat. Let's see, I see some questions on chat. Can I send my research proposal instead of sample work for PhD application? Please send your sample work, but you can add research proposal as well if you want to do that. It's quite helpful for the prospects. Does the post-MS program offer internship opportunities, such as working in Istanbul Policy Center? Sena, would you like to answer that question?
Yeah, sure, Özge. Actually, I thank you for this question because it would be good to discuss a bit more about IPC as well. Yes, I mean, what we do at IPC, as I'm sure some of you have been following already our work, that we work mainly on policy-related, academically informed policy-related issues. So we do projects on issues mainly regarding conflict resolution, EU-Turkey relationship, in particular EU-Turkish-German relations. We have a Mercator Fellowship program that runs with this, both for senior fellows and also for junior fellows. Also for project line on democracy and good governance, and also urbanization. So these are just some of the issue areas that we cover at IPC, and we do offer internship opportunities for graduate students, and we in fact do prioritize our graduate students. So many of our graduate students at Sabancı in the past have conducted successful internships at IPC. Some of them even went, to work for us for certain periods before they moved on to other things. So yes, this is, so we do have very close faculty IPC collaboration, and we intend to build on that even more. I guess that sort of sums it up. But I mean, by the way, there's a standard application process, for IPC internships. But once you are enrolled in the program, and once you are in the enrolled in the graduate program, then if you do contact us, then we can give you further information on how the process runs.
Thank you very much. There's a question on temporary diploma. Tuğcan, will you be able to answer that question? Will it be okay to use a temporary diploma for master's degree with thesis accepted in PhD application? I think yes, but I want to make sure.
I don't understand what he was meaning about temporary diploma.
So I think it is probably passing the thesis defense maybe, but not having the diploma yet. Is that the question?
It's a document that you take before you take your diploma. It shows that you have fulfilled everything, but didn't get your official diploma yet.
Okay.
Mezuniyet belgesi in Turkish. Yes, we accept.
Okay. I understand now.
Thank you.
You can apply with temporary diploma, but you need to give your MA with thesis diploma in the registration. You should get until registration the real diploma.
Thank you. There's another question, applications. How many students we're going to accept for MA? Probably 8 to 10. ALES'te gerekli alt limit puanı. No, so we have a minimum requirement for ALES, but we also take ALES
70
points in the evaluation. So actually 50% of our evaluation is based on ALES. So your ALES point is actually quite important and relevant. So it's not only a minimum threshold, but it's part of the evaluation process. Statement of purpose, it depends, but what needs to be, I mean, let me tell you from my perspective, and other faculty members can join as well. From a statement of purpose, you need to show give some information about your background, academic background, and also show your interest, why you picked Sabancı for applying to the graduate program, why do you think that it's a suitable program for you, and what you plan to do in the MA program and PhD program, what you plan to do afterwards. And if anybody else wants to add anything.
I may perhaps say one or two things about the statement of purpose. So you don't need to have a research agenda at this level of your careers. I mean, this is exactly why you are coming to this MA program, right? I mean, you are actually going to get a lot of seminar courses, and then you will be exposed to, I'll say, more advanced literature than what you are used to reading, I mean, at the undergraduate level. And those are, of course, going to shape your research interests. I mean, you are going to work closely with faculty here. I mean, their research interests will also shape your research interests. So you don't need to explain or hold on to what those research interests are. On the other hand, it would, of course, help to tell us, right? I mean, who you would like to work with, or who do you think would be a good fit for you, because it's going to signal a few things. It would signal that you actually did your homework, right? I mean, you examined the faculty here at Sabancı University, you know who might be working on the field, I mean, in the fields that you would like to specialize in. B, it is also going to help us to put you in a position, right? I mean, because we are trying to accept students from different subfields of political science, and then we can actually find out or determine, right? I mean, who would be a good fit for which faculty member, perhaps if there's for instance, a project, right? I mean, then we can actually assign those MA students to those faculty, or maybe, accept students, I mean, based on their stated research interests. I mean, so in short, right? I mean, it is, of course, helpful to state what your research interests broadly enough are.
There is a question on the writing sample. Yes, you can send a chapter from your MA thesis. You can send the whole MA thesis, but it's not likely that we're going to read all of it. So it will help if you can send a chapter that indicates your, what you want to share with us. Conditional acceptance without LS and YLS. Again, let me turn towards Tuğcan with this question. So what's going to happen this year with conditional acceptance? Because of COVID, things have been a bit complicated in the last 2 years. So I want to make sure that I do not make a mistake.
Okay. This year, everything will be go on time as we planned, and so we don't have conditional acceptance this year. All documents must be uploaded until the deadline. All the scores, exam results must be uploaded.
With the English exam, MA students can take the exam offered by Sabancı University, but for the PhD, this is not an option. But for the MA students, if you do not have English proficiency, you can take the exam offered by our university, and the date is
16th and 17th of June. Exam will be online, and we will invite who has missing language score to the exam.
Question, I think.
Ecem has a question about the differences between Turkish studies and political science MA programs.
Matt, do you want to answer that question?
I would try. The Turkish Studies program has recently undergone a change, and it's now operating as a pilot program with more focus on policy relevant work. And I'm pretty sure you were, I mean, also attending the Turkish Studies programs. Session, and I'm pretty sure Oya Hoca and Berk Hoca mentioned this. On the other hand, I mean, the political science MA program here is, I mean, believe me, it wouldn't be a repetition of what you have learned at the undergrad level, because we here offer you an important opportunity to actually specialize in different subfields. So Senem Hoca is here, right? I mean, she's actually working on, EU foreign policy, right? I mean, Turkish foreign policy. I mean, Betül Hoca is here. She's actually working on conflict resolution and analysis, right? Ersin Hoca, I mean, is a comparativist. Özgür Hoca is a comparativist. We both do. I mean, Turkish politics. I mean, there are people here who does IR or specifically other subfields. I mean, I'm actually having a difficult time remembering. There are people who does political theory. There are people who does political philosophy. I mean, even history, right? I mean, so if you actually consider all those different subfields of political science, I mean, when you come here, right, I mean, it is going to be a much more specialized, I'll say a heavier and much more focused education. Hence, I don't think it would be a good idea to actually pair the undergraduate education with the graduate education, despite that their names are the same. That being said, I mean, if you are more into policy relevant work, I would actually suggest you to perhaps, I mean, consider Turkish politics more seriously, because there is a required policy internship, I mean, in that program, differently from political science. Here, it is voluntary. In the other one, it's actually a course, I mean, by itself, right? I mean, it has a credit requirement. That program offers you actually to take like more policy relevant courses. That being said, you can actually take many courses here in this political science program. You don't need to be in the Turkish studies program. I mean, I am, for instance, teaching both for political science and Turkish studies MA students. So you can take whatever you want. I mean, from different lists of, I'll say, elective and core elective courses. I think we have a very good and very comprehensive list of those. So it is mostly to you to decide in which fields you would like to specialize.
There was another question there. Did we answer it? My bachelor degree is psychology. Do students from different disciplines have to take scientific preparation before they start the master program?
We don't answer. You won't answer.
No, actually, you can come and join our program with different specialization. In fact, in the past, we had people from different programs, and there is no requirement to fulfill before you join, but you have to take the introductory courses like everybody else do. Right, Özgür Hocam? Maybe you might need to do extra readings depending on how you feel, but formally there is no requirement to fulfill before you start.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, we would like to get people from different backgrounds. We'd be happy to have applications from different backgrounds. Psychology, there, Matt, you might want to talk a bit about. And we have faculty members who work on political psychology. So, and Betül, you're interested in the overlaps. So you'll be very interested in having applications from these related but different backgrounds.
Exactly. And there is another question. Mert, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Hocam, may I add one more thing? I mean, I remember we had very successful students with psychology background. I mean, I can think of Irem's name from top of my head. And they also work in the intersection of psychology and political science, right? I mean, political psychology, social psychology. I mean, we have affiliated faculty, I mean, with such an expertise. So that would definitely help you, right? I mean, to be able to speak both languages. And at least, I mean, in my humble opinion, I mean, in my view, it is actually a plus rather than a negative thing for you, because it would allow you to be able to contribute to different literatures and also to inform us, right, about stuff that we do not necessarily know. Hocam, there was this other question, so I think I didn't miss it. Still, does having a research subject might provide any advantage in the admission process? This is what I was trying to say. I mean, in response to that longer question, of course it helps. I mean, it helps us to better classify you. It helps us, I mean, to understand what you are expecting from this program, and also to understand whether you have examined other universities and compared them with Sabancı University and determined, I mean, decided on coming to Sabancı University based on some, I'll say, a solid understanding of what we do here and how we can be of help to you in becoming a better scholar.
I share my opinion on this. I feel a bit disappointed though when that research question does not change once the student starts taking courses in this program, because in a way that signals that the program doesn't help you in changing that question, reframing that question. So I would also want to, for example, in interview, see that you're open to getting feedback from us as well, and getting your view being shaped by what you get from us as well. So, I mean, if you have a very specific research question, and if you're going to answer that research question, no matter what you learn in the other in the classes and from what you hear from your other colleagues in the program and from the faculty members, I think that's not very, that means that the program doesn't help you that much. So I would like to see some kind of openness in the interview process to possibly reshaping to your research question a little bit, depending on depending on the feedback that you get from others.
Hocam, may I add one thing? I mean, so my own experience teaching research methods here, and this is basically the course that everybody should take, right? Tells me that almost always that research question changes. So this is exactly why I wanted to emphasize. It's not set to stone, right? I mean, as Özge Hoca said, I mean, you should be open to change it. You should be able to ask better questions. I mean, the more education you receive here, I mean, the clearer your mind will be. Hocam, there is an IP question, Özge Hocam. İslam tarlacı.
The last part of that question, yes, if you graduate from Boğaziçi or another university where the instruction was in English, you still have to take the English proficiency exam. So that's still required. In terms of IPE, I mean, I think all of our faculty members have their interest areas on our webpage, so you should be able to check that. In terms of IPE, what do you mean by math use? I didn't understand that. You said that you're interested in IPE, international political economy, because of mainly the math use. I don't.
Quantitative research, perhaps?
Not using quantitative research or using quantitative research. That part I didn't understand, because IPE can be done in both, using both methodologies. Like it doesn't necessarily have to use using math, using quantitative methods. I don't think our faculty members who use quantitative methods do research in IPE. Mark, you're not doing IPE research anymore, right? I don't do IPE. Ersin doesn't do IPE. No, we don't have faculty members who use quantitative methods and do research on IPE.
But we have students, I mean, who actually do IPE and employ quantitative research methods in their own research. So I should say, I mean, this program specifically is quite powerful, strong in when it comes to teaching you how to use such quantitative and qualitative approaches, I mean, in your own research. So after you actually learn those, I mean, you don't need to actually have the same approach with your advisor, so you can actually work with somebody else with a different approach. And if you would like to use such and such approach, I mean, you're of course free in that. Free to do so.
There is another question too. Does this program accept English proficiency results provided by ÖSYM exams? Tuğcan?
Yes. Tuğcan, yes, right?
Yes. It is written in application requirements. You can also read language item there.
So let me quickly share those. I'm not going to go over them in detail, but again, let me show you the application website. Here you have detailed information on what is accepted as in the requirements. So here, TOEFL, IBT, PT, academic, CAA, I don't know what they are, CPE, but there's detailed information about how you can satisfy the language proficiency requirement. And here, please note that TOEFL, IBT best score is not accepted. So the details of the application process, as I mentioned, you can go to the Political Science and International Relations webpage, and for the MA program and for the PhD program, you have two separate entries, and it is quite detailed. So almost all of the questions that I asked here, you can find the answers. There was a question on statistical programs. Matt, do you want to answer? I mean, you don't have to be an expert on statistical programs for being admitted, or you don't have to be an expert at all. But Matt, as the faculty member who's teaching the introductory research methods course, can give you more information on how much data coverage there will be.
We will definitely teach you how to use, such statistical software. So you don't have to worry about not knowing that. I mean, most of our students come here not knowing any of those, but quickly after the first semester or maybe the second, right? I mean, they become proficient enough to be able to do their independent research as well as supervised research using such tools. So no worries about that, and you don't have to actually use them if this is not what your research requires. I mean, so we will teach you anyways. I mean, in a very, I'll say, to a very limited level. However, after that, you don't need to take a secondary course, so this shouldn't bother you. I mean, however, as I always say, I mean, at least in my view, I mean, when you are in the MA program, I mean, if I were you, I would actually take as many courses as I can and try to actually enhance my knowledge about different techniques, different approaches to the level it's possible, because yes, it may be I'll say demanding. However, it is also helpful, because this is at the end, unlike the BA, is where you are going to specialize and where you are going to build your future career. I don't see any other questions, Hocam, so I cannot pass it to you.
We haven't missed any questions, right? So shall we wait for a minute or so to see if there are any further questions? Elective language courses for improving other language skills. Yes, you can. As I mentioned, there are 2 free elective course requirements. Typically, our students take those 2 requirements from our courses as well, because as Matt said, it's better to take, it's important to train yourself by taking different courses as much as possible. You can either take more courses and on top of the others as language courses, or you can take them as the free elective courses. Both are possible. Okay, so thank you.
Okay.